Welcome back to the Mansdem. Um, it's the Herb, Jesus Noir, Mark and Henley, and coming with episode 19 officially. If you watched earlier, I said 19, wrote 18 on the online, but
It's live, man. It was live.
it's
So,
live.
people
Things
make
happen,
mistakes.
man. And I know you guys don't care about this little thing, so it's all good.
I'm still here.
Thank you. So, what we want to do right now is discuss some of the All-Star reserves and the snubs, the NBA has announced the 7 reserves for each the Western and Eastern Conference All-Star teams. So in the Eastern Conference, I believe it's Kyle Lowry got on there.
Yep.
Bam Adebayo got on there.
Jimmy
Butler got on there.
Chris Middleton.
Donatas Sabonis, and who else?
Ben Simmons.
And
Jason Tatum.
All right. In the previous show with T. Rome, I said I don't think Tatum or Jaylen Brown should make it. I wasn't sold on Jimmy Butler's numbers, and I wasn't sold on Adebayo's numbers. The rest, I was good with. What do you think of those 7? Who should have been on there? Who replaces? Who maybe does Bradley Beal deserve to be ahead of? Any of them?
I definitely like Bradley Beal because I like what he's doing. I like his numbers. I didn't think that Chris Middleton was going to make it. But maybe just because of the fact that team is just it's trailblazing right now. Like they're really really killing it.
Yeah, 41 or 42-6. So
something ridiculous like that.
Gotta have one representative.
Yeah, and even when the thing is even when Giannis has missed a few games here and there, he's they're still killing teams.
Yeah.
So I guess they're kind of giving Chris Middleton that credit. So.
And it didn't hurt, like you mentioned. He dropped that 50 just before the
dropped the 51 just to let people know that in case if you're doubting his All-Star candidacy,
timing
is a little 51 for you.
Everything.
Yeah.
Who else you got on there?
Jimmy Butler is an interesting one. I think he gets there by name, but again, it's like Miami's doing a lot better than what people expected. Sure. So that's why they'll get guys like Adebayo and Jimmy Butler on there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's surprising, but maybe not as surprising. So it's not. I wouldn't necessarily have put them on there, but the fact that they're on there, I'm not mad at that.
Fair. How do you feel about Tatum?
So Tatum again falls into that little thing. Where you have really good teams. Boston's done really well this year. I don't know how it really meets with expectations or whatnot. I think they're probably maybe around where people expect them to be.
Mm-hmm.
But he's kind of the best player on that team. I think a lot of people are looking at him as the best guy, as the leader, kind of emerging leader on that team. And so I think that's the reason why he gets on. When people look at Boston and say, well, they're a really good team, and Jason Tatum's kind of been one of those guys that's blossomed and kind of taken on a bit of a leadership role and really brought the stats and everything. So I think that's the reason why he gets on.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't on, I wouldn't have been. If he was snubbed or whatever, I would have been like, "That's not really a snub. It's just what it is. What it is." And it's just like I don't think he's a lock, to be honest.
Right. How do you feel about Lowry getting a reserve spot?
Is that championship residue? I guess maybe is that a little bit of because the team's doing really well and he's been one of the mainstays on the team, even though they've had a lot of injuries. So I think he's that's part of the reason why he gets on. Do I think he deserves to be on? I'm not. He's a borderline guy for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at the fact that he got on, but again, if he wasn't on, I would have been like, there's no snub there or whatever. I think that's just he's a borderline guy to me as well.
The funny thing about Lowry's numbers, and again, he's made All-Star teams before.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, these are his best numbers going into an All-Star break.
Right.
He's at 19.9 points. He's averaging 6 or 7 assists per game. Those are better numbers than he's put up in any other time that he's been an All-Star.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, plus what they've done record-wise,
it's weird though because
second best team in the conference.
It's weird though because even though if he's had like worse numbers in other years, it felt different. Like this year doesn't feel like he's been as good or as impactful, at least to me. So that's why I don't necessarily look at him as an All-Star.
Okay, that's fair. And Donatas Sabonis, you agree with that one?
Yeah, because this Pacer team has been doing really well. And they, they obviously they're just getting Victor Oladipo back now,
and they
so
were without Brogdon for a bit too.
yeah, exactly. So there's guys that are on that team that are really helping and stepping up to the forefront for them, and he's one of those dudes, and I think he deserves that recognition as being one of those guys.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to the Western Conference. Their reserves include Chris Paul, Dame Dollar, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell,
Brandon
Ingram, who I predicted was going to get on that team. And who's the last guy? Russell Westbrook. His name was there.
Did you say Chris Paul?
I did say Chris Paul. Oh, and the Joker.
Yes. Right.
Again, the other night talking with Jerome, I knew Jokic would get on there. I predicted Ingram would get on there. Dame Dollar is not a surprise, so no big deal predicting it. I knew Westbrook would get on it because again, he's pretty much averaging a triple-double again, and you can't have a man who's doing that not be an all-star. Chris Paul wasn't on my radar for an all-star selection. The person on their team that I think should be on there would be Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's the most talented guy on their roster right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the most accomplished is Chris Paul, and he's still a great leader.
Chris Paul selection, I think, might be because because Oklahoma City is doing a lot better than what people were expecting they were going to do. And this might be, exactly. And this might be one of the last few times that they can even vote Chris Paul in. This is this is a pretty solid opportunity to get him in. If you look at it, Gilgeous-Alexander, he's probably going to have more opportunities to be able to get in. I think
he'll be in there every year after this one. So.
Yeah. So I think that's I don't know. I have no idea what voters are thinking, but my sense is that that's the kind of philosophy that they're working with. So I think that's why that Chris Paul kind of gets in.
Okay. The rest of the ins. How do you feel about Rudy Gobert getting in there? Even Donovan Mitchell.
You know what? I like Rudy Gobert in there. Even though the All-Star game's it's not about defense on any level, but the fact that he's such a great defensive player and he's a game changer on the interior for Utah's defense, and Utah's done so well this year. And the fact that he's like kind of the anchor of the defense, I think that he deserves that credit to get in there.
Okay.
Utah deserves some love, especially because they're one of those teams that doesn't really get a whole lot of press. So I think that they deserve to get some All-Stars in there.
Yeah.
With Mitchell and Gobert, that makes sense to me.
All right, and you're good with the rest of them. Westbrook, Dame, and Ingram.
Aside from Westbrook, like you look at Damian Lillard and Brandon Ingram, they're both on really crappy teams.
Yeah.
Even though New Orleans is starting to play a little
better,
they're getting
interesting,
especially with Zion getting on board. So they're going to definitely win some games and surprise some people who don't take them seriously. But in general, they haven't been all that great this year. But Brandon Ingram's from last year and the years before when he was with the Lakers to this year is like it's exactly. You're looking at like a guy who just completely he was playing with ankle weights and like chains on his hands and stuff like that when he was with the Lakers. And now he's all free. He's like free to roam and just do whatever he wants. And he looks happy.
He does.
When he's scoring as much as
balling out, he's still playing the tough guy role. Like he's getting in man space and stuff. Like I'm loving this new Brandon Ingram. So definitely a deserving nod. On to the snubs. The Score released a list of the 5 real snubs. So I'm going to mention them. Let me know what you think, and if you have any more to add. So Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Melvin Brogdon, and Jaylen Brown.
Karl Anthony Towns. I'll start with him. He's got the numbers. And he's he's a beast. Like he's I love the way he plays. I love his numbers. Problem for him, to me, is that he simply just hasn't played enough games. He's missed like 17 games or something like that. It's like something like ridiculous like that. He's just missed too many games in order for me to say that he's a legitimate all-star despite the numbers.
Okay. Did they get it right with the right Celtic getting in? Tatum over Brown?
Yeah, I think Tatum over Brown is good because I think as I mentioned before with Tatum, I think he's taken on a bit more of that leadership role. I think he's kind of ascended a little bit more than Brown. Brown's, I believe he's going to have opportunities to make the All-Star game in the future, but I think it's Tatum's time right now, and I have no problem with Tatum over Brown.
Okay. Now we look at a really glaring one. Bradley Beal left off, averaging 28 points a game, I think, plus six boards as well. Where do you think was a mistake made there? Should he have made a squad? Can he replace anybody on that roster?
I definitely think that he was good enough to make the roster, but I don't know what the reason is necessarily why they didn't put him on there. I mean, if they felt the other players were better, I guess, and that's I guess like you can go with that. But I don't have any problem with Bradley Beal not necessarily being on there, though I do like his numbers and stuff. But there's not really anybody I would say that guy shouldn't be on there. Bradley Beal should be on there for that. I just though I do like Bradley Beal and I like his game. I like how he plays. I think he's kind of been a bit freed now with John Wall not there, and he's kind of been able to take a leadership role as well and just kind of be that guy, be that man on the team, the go-to guy, so to speak. And then there's no interference on any level. So if he had made the All-Star team, I think that would have been a nice little capper for his year, because they that they're not going to really have any team success.
Right.
But I can't say that I think that he should have been on there.
Okay. And similarly, Devin Booker, lights out shooter, putting up a nice string of 30-point games right now. Left off the All-Star team. What do you think about that?
Well, Devin Booker's an interesting one because he's like he's a nice player, but whenever time I look at Devin Booker, I look at him as just really more of a scorer, even though his numbers don't suggest that he's just a scorer.
Okay.
But that's how I feel about him. I don't. He gets these, at least to me, these underrated, almost like these assists that you don't really see.
Mm-hmm.
He gets these assists, but so I look at him and say that he's probably a guy that he could be on the team, and he'll make All-Star teams in the future. I think as the team gets better and the team gets more respect. Yeah. But right now, because that team, they started out a little bit well, but then they kind of like fallen back a bit. I think that kind of held him back and just from being an All-Star.
Okay, and the last one, Melvin Brogdon. Do you think the score is considering him a snub? I personally don't think so. Where do you sit on that?
He's an underrated guy. I don't think he's a snub though.
Right.
I don't. I mean, they've got their pacer in the game already with Sabonis. I think that's enough. But I don't necessarily think that Brogdon's a guy that has to get in to the All-Star game or should have gotten into the All-Star game. I mean, if there's an injury or something like that, or if there's going to be a replacement, then maybe he gets in. But he's not necessarily a guy that I would look at and say he's snubbed, and that he would be my next guy up if somebody did get injured. So okay. I don't. I mean, I like him. I like his game. I think he's nice. But I mean, just because you're nice doesn't necessarily mean you're an All-Star.
Right. Okay. So speaking with that, we have two players in the Rising Star threshold first 2 years who were voted in to the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Should they, in your opinion, do you think if you become an All-Star that you relinquish your spot on the Rising Stars for someone else to get in, or should you not be eligible for an All-Star game within that 2 year threshold?
I mean, you could go either way on that. I mean, for me, what I would want to do, I would actually want to see do the All-Star voting and everything like you would. Guys Trae Young and Luka Doncic who get in because of their play, they get voted as All-Stars. Mm-hmm. But then because they're within their first 2 years, put them in the Rising Stars game, and then just have them play in the All-Star game, because I mean, you really don't need to play in the All-Star game. It's really more about the acclaim of being voted to the All-Star game. Right. And give those spots to somebody else. I wouldn't mind doing something like that. Okay. That would be okay with me.
Recognize for getting voted in, but have the coaches put in the next.
Or you can even just have them on the bench and just have them as 12th or 13th type guy, and just add a guy to each team to take up for those spots that they're taking. Right. I mean, that's I don't think that they necessarily should be on both teams. That doesn't really necessarily need to be for me.
Okay. So that being said, an All-Star stub for me, well, two of them really, is John Morant. I think he's played well enough. If we're going to be putting Rising Stars in the All-Star game, I don't know how John Morant doesn't get in, doesn't get either a vote in or whatever, or consideration from the coaches.
I'm surprised, especially with his athleticism and all those high flying plays, that he didn't actually get in just based off of things like that. Plus his numbers, right?
Because it's a fan game. His numbers are great, and he's got his team in an 8th spot.
Yeah,
in a tough Western Conference. And actually, like I said, there's a lot more parity in the Western Conference now. So it's really log jammed. Even though the Lakers have a comfortable lead, teams are close to them.
Yeah.
Right. And they're in the 8th spot. So I think, and that's a lot to do with John Morant.
Yeah, but
So,
I mean, I wonder if
he's
it's because the again with a team like Utah as well, and Memphis is probably just not on a lot of people's radar.
Yeah.
Even though a guy like John Morant should be on everybody's radar because of the highlight reel plays, but people are not necessarily looking at Memphis and thinking about them and thinking about giving them acclaim as much as they should be getting, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that kind of hurt him. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I think as far as underrated guys who aren't going to be in the game, but again, I agree with the Rising Stars not being in the All-Star game, but I think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander deserves All-Star game consideration almost as much as John Morant. So I think if we're going to be letting Rising Stars get into this game, I don't know how John Morant is missed out here. Right. Whether that's whether he's fighting tooth and nail with Booker for that spot, or Gobert doesn't get on there, or even Donovan Mitchell doesn't get on there. So I think there was a little bit of a mistake in that regard. Like John Morant is, he's, at least in my estimation, he's doing way more than expected of him right now. And at this early age, and I think the league messed up on that one.
I think with the younger guys, sometimes it's like, you got to pay your dues and type of thing or whatever. And people look at it and say, these guys are going to be playing in plenty of All-Star games. I'm going to put in other guys who are a little bit more, who are not going to have as many opportunities necessarily as those guys. So I think that might play into it. I have no evidence to back it up. It's just my feeling.
All right. We got our diehard viewer online right now. J-Rob, what up? Before we end this bad boy, any All-Star snubs you can think about? He's always on. He's on every show.
He was on last time when we did this. I remember.
Yep. He's always in it, man. So I appreciate that.
We got to pick up the support.
Absolutely. I just found out we got to get the subscriptions up to like 1,000 before I can go live on my mobile. So spread the word, guys. Like, share, subscribe, and I can get mobable with this thing, man. You can have
get your peoples on it. Get your parents on it. Get your grandparents on it.
Very good,
get your kids on it.
Don't cost them to subscribe. You don't even have to watch after that. Just
create some burner accounts.
Yeah, give me some burner accounts. Go
talk to KD and Brian Colangelo.
Man. Absolutely. But so that's what we're looking at for the All-Star game. It should be good. I'm interested in seeing more Kobe tributes. Those have been really good.
Kobe tributes have been awesome. They've been fantastic. I mean, it's obviously a sad thing that happened with them, but we do definitely.
I'm appreciating the recognition that has been getting.
I do think about it is I'm just not to dwell on it too much, but just I'm appreciating how many different sports stars from all different types of sports from around the world are really appreciating him and showing the love for him. I had no idea that Kobe had as much reach throughout other sports as he did.
Sports on a whole is a pretty big fraternity. Fans of other sports are fans of other athletes, and you think when you're at a level that the fandom is gone. Once you're a peer, you don't really think nothing of it. But there's guys who are fans. I saw Ovi gave him a tribute, War 24. That's crossing over to another sport. I'm sure the football world. I was watching some football coverage of for Super Bowl week, and there's some football players who talk about having big connections to Kobe Bryant. It's like just wouldn't think that. But so I am interested in seeing what the All-Star game does for him, and just people trying to show Kobe due respect right now are just they're balling out, putting up big numbers, for Kobe's sake. So I think the All-Star game is gonna be fun, and even with these rosters how they are, they're still doing the draft, right?
Still doing the draft.
So I mean, hopefully Dame Dollar and Westbrook aren't on the same team.
I hope they are.
No, I don't want them on the same team.
No,
I don't want to see them play nice. I want to see them go at it in the All-Star game.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Right. Westbrook and Dame Dollar have been.
There's something to be said about that. I was thinking more of like having guys on the same team and butting heads that way. But I mean, I can see your point too. That's fine. Okay.
And if they butt heads on the same team and All-Star game, that'd be hilarious.
Are you going to sit them at the opposite ends of the bench? Okay, that's fine. You do that, right?
We'll see what happens, but tune into that. That should be good. In the meantime, as always, this has been the Mansdem. It's the Herb, Jesus Noir, J-Rob. Good looking out. Get that family signed up.
Yeah, man.
And we'll talk. Hit me up when you get to Toronto, fam. Peace out.
So would he get on if he was up there?
Oh, absolutely. He's already asked me.
Oh, cool.
He's already asked me.